Calling the meeting to order of the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners, the Town Hall meeting for December 4th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in Bel Air Town Hall. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we have the approval of the agenda, we are going to call the roll by just everyone stating their name and their position with the town for the record.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll begin. Michael Krantz, Director of Administration.
Pam Moore, Recording Secretary.
Mary Chance, Town Commissioner.
Jake Taylor, Town Commissioner.
Paula Edding, Chair.
Steve Chismar, Town Commissioner.
Jim Rutledge, Town Commissioner.
Eddie Hopkins, Town Administrator.
Elizabeth Thompson, Town Council.
Kevin Small, Planning.
Lisa Moody, Director of Finance.
Angela Robertson, Director of Economic Development.
Stephen Klein, Director of Public Works.
Chuck Moore, Chief of the Police Department.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the agenda.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and I'm going to move that we amend the agenda to put the public comment on the new business after each item of new business. That is, after the Armory Marketplace rental-free structure, we will then have public comment after that, rather than having it all at one time. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any comment, discussion? All right. Mr. Krantz, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly, call for a vote on the approval of the agenda as amended. Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Chance.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye. All right, the motion passes 5-0. And next we have the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I move that the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meetings held on 14 November 2023 and November 20th, 2023 be approved as submitted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or comment regarding the minutes? Okay. Mr. Krantz, if you would call the roll, please.
Calling the vote for approval of the minutes, Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Chance.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye. So the motion passes 5-0. Next on our agenda, we have a presentation by the Appearance and Beautification Committee. Mr. Klein.
I'm here.
Right.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christy Sudbrink. I work with the as a volunteer for the Bel Air Town Appearance and Beautification Committee, and some of my other members of our committee are here, as well as our chair, Jenny Domback. And one of the charges of the Appearance and Beautification Committee is really to encourage efforts and activities in connection with the beautification of Bel Air. And in that spirit, each year, the Town of Bel Air and the Appearance and Beautification Committee recognizes the homeowners and business owners who expend exceptional effort to make their home or workplace look beautiful. And so tonight, we're here to recognize them. So our first award, if I can please have Lindsay McLeod come up for our first award. If you can go to the first slide. Love this home, right? Yeah. No, please come stand beside me. As you can see, 414 Maitland Street looks like the most charming cottage you've ever seen, right? And right in the heart of Bel Air. And everything from the picket fence to the plantings to the flower boxes and the grounds, it's just absolutely lovely.
Thank you. I would like to say the woman that lived there before me about 4.5 years ago
this is all her, and I just try to maintain it as best I can. She did all of that, and I'm like, okay, just don't mess this up because she drives by.
No, it looks, but, it is just a treasure, and that's what we always want to recognize. I mean, when you get a treasure, that you maintain that treasure,
Yeah.
and you're doing a beautiful job with that.
Thank you.
And I know that's not easy.
No.
And so, for you tonight, we have this award. So this is, we'll have a plaque that is coming, but
Okay.
this award, you can put in your yard, and then people will see it, and hopefully they'll ask you, what's that for? And the idea is, that we share this and we develop that feeling throughout town. So I
Thank
just
you
wanna
so much. I appreciate
congratulate
it.
you
Thank
so
you.
much. There you go. Oh. And we're going to have the commissioners behind us? Is that what you want, or how would you like to do it?
We have some ABC members here.
Oh, we'll have the ABC.
Why don't we have that?
That sounds great. And me, congratulations.
Hit right in front here. Let me-
Just nobody tripped.
You might, I don't know if you can get the TV picture of the house, because that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh, you got it?
that's-
Oh, it's,
yeah,
it's okay, there you go.
It's the big one.
The big one.
It's beautiful.
We're set up for the next photo. Good news.
And we got family and friends too.
Yes.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay, all right.
For our next award, if I can please have Brendan Butler please join us up here. We created, a year ago, 2 years ago, we created our Phoenix Award. And the Phoenix Award is for someone that takes a property, that was nice and just really enhances and beautifies it. So if you'll please go to the next slide. Brendan actually lives at, his address is 640 Roland. Just a little change there, my friend. So, I mean, not only just tastefully enhancing a house, but all the plantings and the landscaping, it's just absolutely lovely. And it truly embodies our Phoenix Award.
Thank you.
And I can only imagine that was a little bit of work.
Yeah, just a little over budget.
Yeah. And so you truly embody this Phoenix Award, and so congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for all your hard work in really beautifying and making the neighborhood look
Appreciate it.
fantastic.
Thank you.
We'll do a picture.
Okay, that's amazing. I'd like to know what the budget was for the house.
You know that house?
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
I have a comment too.
Yeah, I'm not moving, so I'm gonna make this house what I want.
Excuse me, but if you don't mind, I'd like to make a comment, Brendan. I took a tour of the house the day it went up for auction. And I bought a house on Wendellwood right behind you and did a little bit of work to it. But when I did the tour of your house, I thought, OMG. There's just, I can't even picture how to do this, but you have done a beautiful job. I drive by it every day, multiple times a day, and it is beautiful. You've done a great
You
job.
have to come in.
I'll come knocking on your door one of these
Feel
days.
free.
All right, thank you.
And if you want to go to our next slide, we do have a second Phoenix Award winner, unfortunately, and they are Harry Kite and Denise McDougall. Unfortunately, they were not able to be here tonight. They had a last-minute thing that came up, so they called me today. This house was always a lovely home. It was Jim McMahon's home, and it's always been a lovely home. They took it to this fantastic mid-century modern feel, which just is fantastic, from the windows to the architectural door details and garage. They even have a beautiful library, one of the community libraries in the front yard with like a water bowl for dogs. So it's fantastic, and I'll be taking them their award tomorrow. And finally, our Town of Bel Air Appearance and Beautification Award for Business, if we want to go to the next slide, goes to T/2. And this is just such a lovely treat in town. I don't know if anybody's been there, but everything from special holiday teas to high tea to, you know, all kinds of things like that. And Aaron Bradley and Janet Myers are the proud owners and do a fantastic job. I mean, not just the, you know, the standard landscaping, but they always plant seasonally, and it always looks lovely. And so when I spoke with them, they were, you know, they were thrilled to win the award, and they wanted to be here, but they had a prior engagement. So each of these winners, as I said, will receive a plaque and a yard sign, and our whole goal is that we just continue to encourage people through the town that, you know, I know what it's like to have a yard and to try and maintain it, and mine is nowhere close to being on an appearance and beautification scenario right now, but, you know, everybody takes steps towards making this town beautiful, and I'm just so thrilled that our committee gets to be part of that recognition. Anyway, thank you all for your time.
On to our next piece of business on our agenda is public comment on unfinished business. First, we'll take any public comment on ordinance 818-23, amending the Bel Air Town Code, Chapter 165, Comprehensive Plan and Development Regulations. This is the adequacy standards for schools. So I do have Rosemary King Johnston. And Ms. Johnston, you are representing a group, correct? The
I am.
Legislative Gateway? So you
The
get-
Master Board.
You get 5 minutes.
Thank you. I won't take it. Thank you all for having us here. I am Rosemary King Johnston. I live at 259 Beckenham Circle, Unit 203 in Bel Air. I'm speaking on behalf of the Master Board, and if you see the two gentlemen that were with me, one is the president and one is the vice president. I just am the speaker, so I'm just saying what I was told. The Master Board supports the above referenced proposed amendments to the Comprehensive Plan and Development Regulations. We support each of the three. I do not expect you to call me up here to speak to them, but I'm just going to tell you our concerns and the reasons why. We represent Legacy at Gateway and Overlook at Gateway, which is 146 units of senior citizens, 55 and over. As the designated representative, I testified at the Planning Commission. Kevin, don't scowl at me. On November 3rd, in opposition to the Harford Mall property development proposal. Attached you will find, and I sent it to each of you, a summary of that testimony, including additional data regarding the number of apartments within a 2-mile radius of the town of Bel Air. We have three sort of things we want to talk to you about. We know most of this goes to the Planning Commission, and we'll be there on Thursday. Our first is that our communities currently pay about $300 a year in sewerage usage funds. We are asking if the developer of the apartments is going to pay $300 per unit for each rental unit. And I don't know if that's a question for you or for planning, but that's a question we have. The second is that the Planning Commission has stated that as long as developers meet the Comprehensive Plan and Development Regulations, the Commission has no choice but to approve the development proposal. We find that a bit troubling, and that is why we are supporting these three amendments. We also know that the Planning Commission is where the detailed discussions need to take place, and will be there on Thursday to again support and express our concerns. The amendments being discussed in the unfinished business portion of this agenda are responsive to the testimony and questions generated during the public comment at the November 3rd Planning Commission meeting. regarding the development proposal for the Hartford Mall property. For this reason, we support the amendments. We thank you for your time and attention and appreciate all your consideration of our concerns. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Sure what we're doing back there. Okay. That's okay. All right, next I have Mr. Scott Agar. And Mr. Agar, you're also representing an organization?
I am,
So you-
Tollgate Village.
So you will also have 5 minutes. Thank you, sir.
I
Mr.
won't-
Krantz is keeping the time for us tonight.
I won't need it either. My name is Scott Agar. My address is 306 Plantation Lane, Bel Air, Maryland. I'm representing Tollgate Village and myself. I wanted to go back to our community meeting that was held last month, and at our most recent meeting, I stated that we, one, need redevelopment of the Hartford Mall. Two, it needed to be seen as part of, our association needed to be seen as part of a solution rather than just a problem. As such, I'm here to ask the following. Would these regulations individually or collectively prevent redevelopment of the Hartford Mall? And when I say that, I'm not talking about the existing plan. Would these regulations individually or collectively prevent the development of a mixed-use development at the mall with 150 units over retail office as contained in the 2022 comprehensive plan? Our opposition is to a high-density big box apartment building in the parking lot of the Hartford Mall and not smart redevelopment of the Hartford Mall. My concern is that perhaps the pendulum has swung too far and too fast. This does not have to happen tonight. I would request, and it's just a request, a more circumspect analysis of potential unintended consequences be considered. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Agar. And next we have Wayne Goddard.
I'm going to read this whole binder. No, just kidding.
In 3 minutes.
Now, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
You just want me to speak
We
to?
do need your name and address for the record.
Wayne Goddard, 128 North Bond Street. Do you want me to speak just to the amendment regarding school, or all three of them? Or all four of them, excuse me?
If you would like 12 minutes, you can address them one at a time.
I won't need 12 minutes. But I do appreciate the opportunity to be heard. As you know, I've prepared this memorandum of law. A little bit about myself. My name is Wayne Goddard. I'm the president of the Goddard Companies. I'm also the chairman of the Hartford County Liquor Board. I'm on the Hartford County Spending Affordability Task Force. I was on Bob Castley's transition team for economic development. I'm on the Economic Development Advisory Board for Hartford County. I was an officer in the Bel Air Downtown Alliance. And I love the town of Bel Air. I love looking at the houses. I love looking at the buildings. I love walking around the town. I love everything about Bel Air. But here's what I hate about Bel Air. Young people don't come back here because the things that they want to come back to aren't here. I have a daughter that's studying to be a teacher at Clemson University. I desperately want her to come back. But what I see in Bel Air and what you guys see in Bel Air, people Jacob's age don't see in Bel Air. And they don't come back. They don't see jobs. They don't see recreational activities. They don't see bars. They don't see restaurants. They don't see opportunity. So based upon the 5 or 6 years that I've seen, and I've worked on these various committees, and I've read report after report after report, the 2016 Comprehensive Housing Report, the Economic Development Report, the Comprehensive Zoning Plan. I've given out awards. We've given out grants. We've watched businesses become devastated by COVID lockdowns. We've given out grants to try to help them. I've watched houses deteriorate some of which are on that wall up there. And I see the signs that say Save Bel Air, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to destroy Bel Air. I'm trying to save Bel Air. And here's how I want to save it. I want to save it by building a building on Bond Street in the Bond Street corridor that is targeted and has been targeted for nearly a decade for redevelopment. It's a dead zone economically. I own the property where the Church of the Redeemer is located. The Church of the Redeemer is moving. They're building a new building. That will become a vacant building that will be nearly impossible to fill in its current configuration because of the way it's designed, its age, its lack of a sprinkler system, its lack of adequate HVAC, its lack of good glass line. It's too short. It's in a zone which the buildings are supposed to be at least 20 feet tall, and it's not that tall. It will be impossible for me to fill that building. We also own and control 130 North Bond, which is where the Young Chefs Academy is. That's a building that looks like someone took a miter saw and chopped the back of it off and never finished building the project. And it looks that way because that's exactly what happened. I have the renderings and the architectural design drawings for that building. And that building was intended to be twice as big and 3 stories tall. But no one ever finished it. If I'm permitted to go forward, I'm going to finish it. I also own 108 North Bond, which was Jeffrey Plum's old office, which is a historically designated building. As far as I know, I'm one of the first people ever in the town to take a building through architectural review and actually put the covenant against it. And the reason I put the covenant against it is because I want to make sure that it never gets knocked down and it never gets bastardized the way it was bastardized with vinyl siding and cheap windows. I want it to be beautiful. I want to win one of the beautification awards. That's what I want for this town. I have another project on my radar that will be absolutely transformational for this town. It's saving an iconic commercial building, an assemblage of buildings that are literally deteriorating in front of people's eyes. And I want to save them. Here's what I want to do as well. I want to build a building that complies with the B3A zoning, gateway zoning at 100 Lester Way, which is the vacant lot behind 128 North Bond and behind 130. I want to build a first-level building that has a restaurant in it that's run by a local restaurateur that will serve reasonably priced food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and takeaway food for people who are older who might not be able to cook or might not want to cook. Next to that, in the same building, I want to put a nice retail store, probably a jewelry store, a local jeweler who might be looking to relocate. On top of that, I want to relocate the Goddard Company's headquarters and bring 12 jobs at least to Hartford County that pay between $100,000 a year and $1.5 million a year. Next to that, I want to put a law firm that wants to expand into Hartford County because they realize that quality legal services are needed in our county. On top of that, I want to put another floor of 10 apartments focused toward active adults so that they will have an opportunity and they will have an alternative to not either live in senior subsidized housing, which some people don't qualify for, or have to go over to Brightview in Avondale and spend between $6,000 a month and $11,000 a month for a similar apartment. The purpose of this is to provide a place for my parents to live as well. My parents are in their 80s. They can do all the faculties of life except for the fact that my dad has dementia, which is thankfully treated very well by Upper Chesapeake, and he can no longer fix things in his house or no longer competently fix things. He cut himself the other day trying to fix something. My mother, God bless her, is just tired of cooking. She can still cook, but she's been cooking for like 62 years, and she just hates cooking. She loves cooking, but she hates to have to do it every single day. So the concept behind it is to give active seniors, active adults, which is 55 plus, which as I told Jacob, 55 is not that old, but it's young enough to be fun and old enough to be responsible. I would like to build 3 levels of that, 25 to 30 units, and that's it. Originally, I had designed the project to be 2 buildings, 100,000 square feet. We received competent feedback from every single person that I talked to. I'm a consensus decision maker. And we received, the criticism that we received is, one, that the building was too tall because it created a tunnel effect to the people along Wallace Street. So what we did is we went out and we commissioned aerial renderings to see whether or not that really was true, and it was. So as a result of that, we've decided to eliminate that building so that there'll be at least a 200-foot buffer between the people that live on Wallace Street and the backside of our building. The other comments that we received at the Board of Appeals and that in my conversations with some of the commissioners was that there was a concern that we didn't have adequate parking. And you were right. We didn't have adequate parking. And we could have gotten a variance. We could have paid a fee in lieu. We could have done any number of things, but I forget which commissioner's against the fee in lieu, but I agree. A fee in lieu doesn't solve a problem. It just transfers money from one pocket to the other pocket. It doesn't create a parking spot. It doesn't alleviate a parking problem. It doesn't alleviate the burden that your building is going to put upon the people that were there before you. So when we redesigned the project, our goal was to put 100% of parking on site, and I think we're very close to it. If we're not 100%, we're probably 90%. Very close. And that's what I want to do. My partners and I, we're not real estate developers. I'm a lawyer. I own businesses. I own a company called Jet Seal that does line striping. I own a dumpster company called Roger That Roll Off. We have a title company. We're a small business. My other partner is a construction contractor. His wife's a teacher. My other partners are both contractors. They're the ones that supplied the trailers to Homestead Wakefield. One of their wives is a teacher, and the other is a stay-at-home mom. We're not the greedy rich developers that live in Martha's Vineyard that say, you know, we're going to build this project and the hell with everybody when we're done. Those are what they call retail developers. We are buy and hold developers. We don't build 400-unit apartments with big parking garages like that gentleman over there is concerned with. We build projects that we think will make the community better. And we think this is exactly what's needed. Our ethos as developers is build one, save one. And I think that if we're talking about suggestions on how to make this town better, instead of creating an impact for parking, let's create an impact to save historically designated houses. Let's create a pool of assets that we can use to do that. Let's require a developer, if they're developing over 50,000 square feet, to make a percentage donation to a fund that would facilitate that, so that we can build the old and we can take down what is either not worthy of being saved or what is incapable of being saved and save what's there. I love old buildings. I love to save old buildings. And my goal for this town is to have a bridge from the old to the new and have a cycle where young people will move in, they'll go to school here because we have fantastic schools, then they'll go away to college, they'll come back because we have fantastic jobs, we have fantastic churches, we have a fantastic place to raise your family. When people like my wife and I outgrow our house and become empty nesters, we can move to these apartments, and then the next generation can move up from the apartments that are not senior living or not 55 plus. God, I can't believe I said senior, but not 55 plus, not active adult living. And then the cycle goes on. The problem that I have with the ordinance, the first one is the schools is, you know, again, my daughter's studying to be a teacher. So I understand, I get it. But I'll tell you two things. The solution to the problem might not be that ordinance. The solution to the problem. 30 seconds and 12 minutes. Oh, really? Are you kidding? Yeah. The solution to the problem might not be that ordinance because it doesn't have a purge mechanism. We need to talk to the school boards. We need to try to figure out where the zone's going to be. The other problem that I have with the height and the density restriction is I cannot do what needs to be done, which comports with the B3 zoning, and do it within 40 feet. The only thing that I could build on that lot, if you cram it down 40 feet, would be a building that has 8-foot ceilings that would probably be more of a subsidized type product because it's not going to be attractive to businesses. I couldn't put my office there. I couldn't put my restaurants there. I couldn't put my retail there because the ceilings are too high because the HVAC has to go there. So that's not going to work. The reason why 55 feet was suggested and the reason why it's in the code that shows a higher level is because to allow for that. Can I have 30 seconds, board, just to finish up on the last?
Mr. Goddard, thank you for your comments.
All right, thank you.
All right. The next ordinance is 819, oh, I'm sorry, yes. Absolutely, Ms. Lucas.
I'm Peggy Lucas, 516 Robinson Street, Bel Air, Maryland. Been a town resident, seems like forever, and town business owner, property taxpayer. That was beautiful. And I hope you were listening, because you know what I said the last time I was here? I'm appalled at everything that came across so very quickly. This is what we need to listen to. We had a possibility of some really good projects coming into town. Mr. Goddard spoke more eloquently than I could have imagined about his project. I knew a little bit about it. Now I know more. I know that he answered many of the questions that were put to him. He had things to solve, and it looks like he's done his best to solve them. And it looks to me like that would be a wonderful spot for Bond Street. I've known Bond Street forever. When it was one way, it was two way. If these amendments go through, something like that will not happen. We will be stuck with Bond Street, the second-class part of Bel Air, because that's the way it's always been seen. We don't have the prime businesses there. It's like, it's Bond Street. This would bring so much to Bel Air that would help Bel Air. It would help me, it would help so many of you, because you would have an attractive building with amenities that will benefit us all. This is what I really hope you listen to when you're considering these amendments that you put forth, because, again, I'll say, those amendments scare me. There's just, to my mind, not enough thought being put into it. I think to my mind, it's reactive to what you've been told the voting public, and they want to see things stay as they were. Woolworths isn't on Main Street, but I still love Main Street. We still have a lovely small town, and we want our kids to come back to it. We want to have it be here for, I might not want to live in my house all the time, but I wouldn't mind living on Bond Street if it was something like that. Please listen to that sort of a presentation. I mumble along, but that man spoke very eloquently, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lucas. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I'm one of the ghost folks. I'm Sean Campbell, 8 North Atwood Road. I'm in my 30s. I moved here when I was in my 30s. My wife's a Bel Air, born and bred. We moved back. We live in a great community. It's Howard Park. So it's a perfect place for your kids to return to. I highly encourage it. I mostly want to speak tonight about the schools, fee and lieu. I have a young child coming up through the school system. No offense to Mr. Goddard, much respect to you, but I really struggle to grasp how 115% capacity for my son going to school is going to be improved even if we're putting in these apartments. You know, there's parents, there's grandparents in this town, and their kids are going to these schools. They can't receive a proper education at 115%. You know, I'm in support of all the amendments because they need to be put in place at this time, right now, in order to reassess. We've been going off the chain, off the rails, not just in Bel Air, in Harford County. We've heard it in plenty of the meetings here from people outside of town. We all have to commute from outside of town into town. 24 is a mess, 1's a mess, and just putting in all these apartments is just going to choke our town up. It's choking our schools up. We need to slow things down. Fee and lieu is a mess. I'm in the environmental field. I'm not in support of fee and lieu because it is just a way to encroach on sensitive environmental habitat. It's a way to line developers' pockets. It's, if you drive through the county and look at all of those walls built along streams, it's an example of what fee and lieu gets you. It's destruction of sensitive wetlands, a reduction of water resiliency. Not a flood-prone location, but we keep putting hard surfaces around, and they're prone to flood. It's going to create accidents, especially in the 24 corridor and Route 1 corridor. So I just want to speak in favor of the 4 amendments that were put forward last week. I think that you have the support of many people in town. We all came out, we voted for you all, and we believe in you. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Anyone else like to make any comment? Okay. Anyone else like to make any comment on any of the other 3 ordinances, since I think they're sort of linked? All right. There's no further public comment. We will move on to the new business at hand. First on our agenda is Resolution 1215-23, amending the Armory Marketplace rental fee structure. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that Resolution 1215-23, amending Resolution 1082-17 for the Town of Bel Air Armory Marketplace leasing fee schedule, be received by the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Ms. Robertson, I believe this is you.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Chair. Chapter 192-1 of the Bel Air Town Code authorizes the Board of Town Commissioners to establish fees for certain town services, publications, documents, licenses, and petitions. The Armory Marketplace leasing fee schedule was reviewed to determine if rates continue to be fair and consistent for applicants interested and eligible to lease a unit or units located within our incubator facility. Tenants for the Armory Marketplace Incubator Program who sign a lease with a start date after December 31st, 2023 will be subject to the proposed new fee schedule if it is approved. The current rates, which have not changed since the inception of the Marketplace program in 2017, have been increased to align with changes in market conditions and to account for financial obligations incurred by the Town of Bel Air through the operation of Armory Marketplace. The rates are offered at below market, as is customary for all incubator facilities across the country, and they reflect the features available on-site for our tenants. Lease rates for existing tenants with a lease starting date prior to January 1, 2024 would not be affected by the increase outlined in Resolution 1215-23. The staff recommends that Resolution number 1215-23, amending the Bel Air Marketplace Incubator Leasing Fee Schedule, be received by the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners. A public hearing is scheduled for Monday, December 18th, 2023.
Okay. Any questions or discussion amongst the commissioners?
No. No.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a public comment regarding this resolution? In that case, Mr. Krantz, call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is to vote on the receipt of Resolution 1215-23 with a public hearing scheduled on December 18th. Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Chance.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye. Next on our agenda is, the motion passed 5-0. And next on our agenda is Resolution 1216-23, accepting the 2020 Harford County Growth Report. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that the resolution number 126-23, 1216-23, outlining the 2022 Harford County Annual Growth Report be accepted by the Board of Town Commissioners.
Do I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second that.
All right. And Mr. Small.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In 1997, the state passed the Smart Growth Areas Act, which requires municipalities to adopt APF ordinances standing for Adequate Public Facilities. Twice per year, the Harford County Planning Department completes a growth assessment on school population as required by statute. The town APF regulations restrict major subdivision approval in school districts where actual or projected enrollment exceeds 110% of the state-rated capacity, and that there's no adjoining attendance areas that are also, all adjoining attendance areas are over capacity. Following receipt of this information, the growth report is submitted to the Town Board of Commissioners at a public meeting for acceptance. Based on that information contained in the report, the Town Planning Commission determines where residential development may occur during the next 6 months. Based on the attached information that you have in your package, provided by Harford County, Homestead Wakefield Elementary School is operating at 115% and will grow to 117 by 2025-2026 school year. And Bel Air Elementary School will operate slightly over 111% by the 2023-2024 school year. All other schools serving the town of Bel Air are operating at less than 110% rated capacity and will continue to do so for the next 3 years. Section 165.21 of the Town Code prohibits Planning Commission approval of residential development applications greater than 5 dwelling units when adequacy standards are exceeded. Any change to the APF standards would be applied once effective based on the revised text. Staff recommends Resolution 1216-23, the 2022 Harford County Growth Report be accepted by the Board of Town Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Any questions from the commissioners?
I have one question. As far as the number of students at Homestead Wakefield, the projected population growth for that would be what? And what is the projected completion of the new building? And what is their projected availability to accommodate the number of students then when the building is completed?
Okay.
That's
you may
it's kind of a
give me a second.
Yeah.
The growth report shows. Let's see. By 2025-26, it's 117. Right now, the Homestead Wakefield is at 115% as of this year. Its enrollment is 1,057 and its capacity is 920.
Now, today.
Capacity is 920 today. Once it rebuilds, it will have a capacity over 1,000, and it would take it down below the anticipated growth. So it would not be exceeding 100% at that point. Yeah. And it's
scheduled for completion when?
I believe it's scheduled, and Steve, you may be able to help me out, but I believe it's scheduled for completion in 2 years, or less than 2 years, because they started this past summer. So they'll complete everything by the end of summer. The idea there is they'll build one building, or they'll build the building, and then they'll move all the kids out of the existing building and move them into the new one, and then demo the old building, plus all of and get rid of all the relocatables from that area, and build their ball fields and whatnot.
Right. But I may have lost you at one point just then, but by the end of 2016, by enrollment in 2016.
26?
I'm sorry, 26. They should be under capacity at that point.
At that point, once that state-rated capacity changes, yes. I'm assuming at this point, because I don't know what the state-rated capacity will be when they occupy it, but I've been told that it's I have that number of over 1,000.
I hear what you're saying. I just think it's confusing for, at this point in time, for us to say, okay, it's too small now.
Right.
But it's going to be larger and handle many more students than what they have even now.
Correct.
Correct. And that's 2 years away.
That's 2 years away. There's no guarantee that they'll finish on time. There's no guarantee that the state-rated capacity will be the same as what they project it to be now. It's a lot of those things are assumptions.
It's moving along rather well. I have to admit, I go by there every day, dropping off, picking up.
I'm surprised they've done as well as they can to move buses and kids and
It's
parents
amazing to
in
see.
and out, yeah.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
A clarifying question to add on to that. When we talk about going under capacity, are we talking about going under 110% or going under 100%?
I anticipate that that they will have, based on anticipated numbers of 1,080,
Mm-hmm.
that they will, their capacity will be over that, or in the same neighborhood as that, yeah.
So you're saying enrollment would be 1,080?
It would be less than the 1,000, or their capacity would be exceeding the 1,080,
Which is the projected enrollment?
which is the projected enrollment.
Okay, now I'm with you.
I know I ask this every time. These numbers are provided to us, well, the school system provides them to the county, and the county provides us with this report, correct?
Correct.
And we don't question the numbers, they're just informative to us, and we have to base our development decisions on this report, correct?
Correct.
And they update it twice a year, more or less?
Twice a year. Once they do, they project it, and then they make amendments based on the current enrollment of that year. So they'll do another amendment probably in February, March, to, based on the enrollments back in September.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Any further questions from any of the commissioners? Would anyone like to make a public comment about this topic? All right. Thank you. In that case, Mr. Krantz, if you would call the roll, please.
Thank you. This is for the vote on Resolution 1216-23, acceptance of the 2022 Harford County Annual Growth Report. Commissioner Rutledge?
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Chance?
I'm going to abstain.
And Chair Edding.
Aye. So that's 4 ayes and 1 abstention for the vote. Resolution 1217-23 regarding Harford County Council Bill Number 23-034, distribution of the hotel occupancy tax revenue. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that resolution number 1217-23 regarding the opposition to Harford County Bill number 23-034 entitled Distribution Hotel Occupancy Tax Revenue as introduced on November 7, 2023, be accepted by the Board of Town Commissioners.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Thought Mary would do it.
It's all right, I'm good.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
I would like to read the entire resolution and preface this by saying that a resolution, of course, is not a town ordinance. This is an expression of an opinion that I'm proposing that the commission make that can be used persuasively with regard to the Harford County Council. It is not entirely without precedent for legislative bodies to do this and comment on the action of another legislative body, but it is unusual. And because of the impact that this change of the law will have on the town of Bel Air's operation through many of its nonprofits, I'm going to comment in more detail on in a moment, I would like to go ahead and read out loud the entire resolution so that everybody can hear the terms of it. It would be a resolution regarding Harford County Council Bill Number 23-034, Distribution Hotel Occupancy Tax Revenue. Whereas the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners wish to voice its opposition to Harford County Bill Number 23-034, entitled Distribution Hotel Occupancy Tax Revenue, as introduced on November 7, 2023. And whereas Harford County Council has introduced legislation that would repeal and reenact with amendments Section 123-68, Distribution of Revenue of Article 7, Hotel Occupancy Tax of Chapter 123, Finance and Taxation of the Harford County Code as amended, to require 50% of the hotel tax revenue collected from hotels in unincorporated areas of the county to be expended for certain purposes in the council district where the hotels are located, and generally relating to hotel occupancy tax and finance and taxation. Whereas the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners believes these changes could and likely will negatively impact the funding available through the Harford County Tourism Funding Program to nonprofits operating within and holding events within municipal limits. And whereas the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners believes these changes could and likely will negatively impact funding available to Harford County's destination management organization, Visit Harford, resulting in a negative impact to the businesses located within municipal limits. And now therefore be it resolved by the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners that it does not support Harford County Bill 03-23 as introduced on November 7, 2023, and that it fully supports an amendment to the bill that will reduce the required percentage of the hotel tax revenue collected from hotels in unincorporated areas of the county to be expended for certain purposes in the council district where the hotels are located from the proposed 50% to 25%, or an amendment that otherwise provides funding available to Visit Harford and funding available through the Harford County Tourism Funding Program to nonprofits operating within and holding events within municipal limits. That is the proposed resolution. And what I would like to do is just further comment on the fact that locally, we benefit greatly as a community, as well as the county does, through the efforts of Visit Harford. And the impact and the promotion that Visit Harford has in a positive way for the businesses in our community in Bel Air, I don't think can be overstated. And just recently, there was actually a television spot that Visit Harford did that highlighted one of our local businesses right here, a men's clothing store, John's, and it was a fabulous piece, and it's exactly the kind of promotion we need. And so because it is such a vital part of Bel Air in this municipality is why one of the reasons I am proposing this resolution. Also, we have a number of local organizations that through the general tourism funding that are vital to our community, the Bel Air Downtown Alliance and others, the cultural arts, the list goes on and on about local nonprofits that rely on this income stream that, yes, has its roots in a hotel tax, that, yes, can have hotels that are not located in Bel Air, but it is my strong conviction, I think that it's shared by many in Bel Air that follow this type of thing, understand that the festivals and the events and the things that are drawn to the town of Bel Air do, in fact, cause a demand to fill up many of these hotel rooms throughout the county, and that these local organizations are vitally important to our community. So with that summary, I am proposing that the resolution be adopted, and certainly look forward to hearing other comments. Thank you.
Ms. Robertson, anything that you would like to add to that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that Commissioner Rutledge did a fantastic job summarizing what we discussed at the work session, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners?
If I could very quickly just move to amend the resolution to add the word "the" in front of Harford County Council in the second whereas clause. I think that would be appropriate.
I have no objection to a friendly amendment or by consent.
A second on that amendment?
I'll second.
All right. Any further questions, comments? No? Any member of the public that would like to comment on this particular piece? No? All right, in that case, Mr. Krantz, if you could call the roll, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for the vote on Resolution 1217-23 regarding the opposition to Harford County Bill Number 23-034 for the hotel occupancy tax. Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Chance.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, someone will be presenting this to the county council at their next meeting, or we're sending
Yes,
it
I'm
to them?
going to check with them, but I anticipate that I will be attending tomorrow night, their meeting.
Right.
To present that.
Present, okay.
Anything else on that? Okay. Item D on our agenda, amending policy IA1, Town Commissioners Assigned Liaison Responsibilities. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, that the amended administrative policy IA1 entitled Town Commissioners Assigned Liaison Responsibilities be adopted by the Board of Town Commissioners.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And for the purposes of the record, I think I will read the assignments so that we have a record of that. Chair Paula Edding, Commissioner of the Tree Committee, Liaison with Harford County and the State of Maryland, and Liaison with the Department of Public Works. Commissioner Mary Chance, Commissioner of the Bel Air Downtown Alliance, Commissioner of the Cultural Arts Commission, Commissioner of the Committee on the Elderly and Needy Citizens, and Liaison with Rockfield Foundation Board. Commissioner Stephen Chismar, Commissioner of the Planning Commission, Commissioner of the Board of Appeals, Liaison with the Planning Department, and Fire Safety. Commissioner Rutledge, Commissioner of the Bel Air Parks and Recreation, Commissioner of the Historic Preservation Commission, and Liaison with the Bel Air Police Department. Commissioner Jacob Taylor, Commissioner of the Appearance and Beautification Committee, Commissioner of Economic and Community Development Commission, and Liaison with the Economic Development Department. Any questions or comments by the commissioners? Okay, anyone
No.
from the public wish to make a comment? No? In that case, I would call the roll, Mr. Krantz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for the vote on the amended administrative policy IA1 for the Town Commissioners Assigned Liaison Responsibilities. Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Chance.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
I would just like to say that after that award presentation, I am very excited to be joining the Appearance and Beautification Committee because they do excellent work.
Those were some really impressive
Yeah.
projects, they really were.
Yeah. Chip and Joanna will be proud.
Absolutely. All right, so next on our list of business is public announcements. So the Historical Society of Harford County is holding the Spirits of Christmas Past Candlelight Christmas Tour every Friday and Saturday from 7 to 8:30 p.m. until December 16th. The hour-and-a-half walking tour begins at the Historical Society and will feature downtown Bel Air and all its holiday finery. Registration is required, and you can reserve a ticket at www.harfordhistory.org. Winter Wonderland in Bel Air is in full swing. Downtown Bel Air will be shining bright with beautiful light displays from 5 to 11 p.m. every evening until January 1st. Special events and horse-drawn carriage rides will be available every Saturday from November 15th until December 16th from 5 to 9 p.m. Reservations are required for carriage rides and will be taken in person on a first-come, first-served basis. Enjoy shopping in our downtown stores or grab dinner with your family while you wait. The Christmas Train Garden will remain open at Armory Marketplace in Suite 103 every Friday from 5 to 9 p.m. and every Saturday from 2 to 9 p.m. through December 16th. Special thanks to town resident Joe Bragg and his team of volunteers for bringing this amazing and much-loved display to life for our community. There are many more events that I'm sure I have missed, but you can visit Christmas in Bel Air, the website, which is christmasinbelair.com, for a complete list of holiday events happening in the town of Bel Air, along with all the information you need about shopping, dining, the free parking initiative, Winter Wonderland, and we, of course, had the Christmas parade this weekend. So we are now up to public comments, I believe.
May I add?
Yes, ma'am.
To Winter Wonderland, this Saturday, Main Street is being closed, correct?
Yes.
And so I think it would be helpful to know the hours of the closure, what time that's going to start. Is anybody helpful with that?
Probably you're gonna start seeing delays at around 4:30 PM, and I believe it goes to around 9.
My calendar says from 4 to 9 PM, Main Street's going to be closed for
4 to
carriage
9
rides.
PM, yes, ma'am.
So,
That's a newbie for Winter Wonderland this year, so I think
Yes.
people will enjoy that ability. And there's a lot of other things going on that date as well. Angela,
are.
can you speak to that?
Certainly. December 9th, not only will Main Street be closed from 4 to 9 for the carriage rides and Winter Wonderland, but there is also a holiday event in the Armory with vendors from across the county participating. There's also a holiday village that's being done in partnership with the Bel Air Farmers Market. That is in the Mary Ristow lot on Bond Street from 2 to 8 p.m. And more details about that can be found on the Christmas in Bel Air website as well. The Bel Air Downtown Alliance also has their Bel Air Market in the parking lot on South Main Street near Das Beer Hall. And the hours from that are
9 to
9
noon.
to noon.
That's what my
Okay,
calendar says.
Super,
so-
I'm glad you have your calendar.
There you go.
That one I couldn't recall. So there are many, many events going on in Bel Air on December 9th, including some concerts as well.
And the
Madam-
Bel Air Holiday Farmers Market is from 9 to 11 a.m. And the Winter Craft Market at the Armory, my calendar says noon to 8.
Yes, and there's also the special event on the 9th, so the farmer's market is 2 to 8 on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Madam
Madam Chair.
Mayor, I'd also like to add on there that parking will start to be closed on Main Street. I think it's 2 o'clock, correct?
That's correct. That's
Yeah,
2 o'clock.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
And next would be commissioners' comments. I, for one, would like to thank the Department of Public Works and the Bel Air Police Department for all their hard work on the parade that happened this weekend. It went very smoothly. It was a great event as always, and it seemed to me to be very well attended. So thank you to everyone. Any other commissioners' comments?
I second that.
It was great.
Madam Chair, I would like to thank publicly all those people that make this Christmas season in Bel Air so festive, so joyful, and such a great thing for the families in and around our community and the people that come to visit. And I'd also like to express advanced thanks to the Department of Public Works and the Police Department for all the hard work that they'll be doing coming up that enables so many to just enjoy the season. Thank you very much.
All right. Anything else from anyone?
As always, a very special thanks to all the members of the public that came out tonight. We love to see democracy in action, so thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, and at this point, we have reached the point in our agenda where we are going to move into a closed session. So I move that this meeting be closed under the provisions of the Maryland Open Meetings Act, General Provisions, Article Section 3-305B7, and Article Section 3-305B8 to discuss the following topics. 1, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice and/or to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation regarding ordinances numbers 818-23, 819-23, 820-23, and 821-23, and to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice regarding Barton Boat et al. Versus the Town of Bel Air, Maryland et al. The reasons for closing the meeting to discuss these topics is because public discussion of confidential information and legal strategies can compromise the attorney-client privilege and inhibit the ability of the public body to receive candid and uninhibited legal guidance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. At this point, I would, yes.
Yep.
Is there any discussion by the commissioners? We just move to a vote. All right,
No.
Mr. Krantz, if you will call the roll for the vote.
We'll call the roll for a vote to close the session as so stated and motioned. Commissioner Rutledge,
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Chance,
Aye.
and Chair Edding.
Aye. And for the members of the public, we will be coming back into open session only to adjourn. We will not be conducting any further public business. All right. We'll now adjourn to the conference room for a closed session.
Madam Chair, if I may, I'm going to excuse my staff members all except for Director Small.
Correct. Thank you. Chairs don't roll all that well. Not on the carpet, but we will make it do.